So can you tell me who you are and what your role is for Alice in the New Wonderful?
Yeah, I am Jasmine. I use they, them, theirs pronouns. I'm the resident stage manager for Mosaic. So I'm sort of stage managing, but mostly I am mentoring a young technician stage manager. So while I am kind of running things right now during the show, that young technician will be calling the show, and I will be next to them, guiding them through and coaching them on how to do that.
What does calling the show mean?
Calling the show means telling everyone who's operating a board or operating curtains, pretty much anything to do with the technical elements, telling them when to go, when to do those technical elements. So telling the light board operator when to change a light cue, telling the soundboard operator when to turn on the music, telling somebody who's running curtains when to open and close them, things like that.
And why is stage management critical to the production of Alice in the New Wonderful?
It is critical to Alice in the New Wonderful because there are a lot of technical elements happening. And it's important to have somebody, one voice kind of in charge of all of those elements to bring together the technical elements so that, hold on, I need to answer this again. I don't know what I'm saying. Okay. Ask the question again.
Why is stage management critical for a production like Alice in the New Wonderful?
Stage management is critical for a production like Alice in the New Wonderful because there are a lot of technical elements, and it's important to have one voice kind of directing all of those elements to come together to make the show happen.
As you think about the show and giving the folks who are watching this vlog a little nugget to look for, what are you hoping that audiences will notice about stage management as it relates to the show?
Let me think about that one. Let me think. What am I hoping they notice about stage management? Well, that's an interesting question because when you are stage managing, you kind of want the audience to not notice. You don't want them to notice anything. Like if something goes wrong, you don't want them to notice that. And usually if something does go wrong technically during a show, the audience doesn't usually notice it, and I notice it. So I kind of don't want the audience to notice anything. I want them to notice how seamless and flawless everything is. I want them to go, wow, that set transition was so beautiful and seamless. I didn't even notice it. Or the lights. Something a lighting designer once told me was, if the audience notices the lights, you're doing it wrong. Which I think is mostly true. You know, if the audience is paying more attention to how the light cues are rather than the feeling it's giving them, then you're doing something wrong. So I want them to not notice.
All right, last question. If someone is interested in learning more about stage management, how would you recommend that they get started?
There is a really awesome YouTube series and podcast done by the same person, and I think they're both called Stage Manager Supply Co. And it has everything from the technical elements of the show to the basics of how do you set up this document, how do you set this up to use for rehearsal reports, what is spike tape, it defines all of these elements, so that's really great. For myself, stage managing is something that kind of fell into my lap. It was an opportunity that I had with a theater company that I was a performer in, and they needed a stage manager, and they saw potential in me to do it, and so I did it, and I discovered that I really, really loved it. So I kind of just dove right in with no experience. So you can do that too, but if you would prefer to have a little more knowledge going in, I would definitely recommend checking out Stage Manager Supply Co. on YouTube, or I listen to their podcast on Spotify.
Awesome, thank you.
Mm-hmm.